Hello, how are you? So today is the 3rd of June. I just was looking actually back at when the last time I sort of posted on my running Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and it's been a hot minute. So I posted a video on YouTube 3 months ago. I think TikTok was a bit more recently because I put some pictures up. I think it was like the end of May or something. And then Instagram, I believe my last post was about my the Rother Valley relays. The last little while actually, I've been really busy and just really trying to lock in on multiple things. Also, just a bit of a point. I got my retainers put back in, so I got a bit of a lisp, and I'm very much aware of them because I've got like the brackets back on as well. You can't really see them, but I am very much aware of them. So if I keep like going like that, I'm trying not to, but I'm just very much aware of them. So basically I'm doing this sort of as a just sit down and sort of like a recap of everything that's happened within the last little while, or from what I've remembered. I mean, I've got a list of stuff that I want to briefly touch on. So the first thing I wanted to mention was my marathon. Now I ran my first marathon on the 11th of May, I believe it was. I did put something up on Instagram about it, and I think I did with TikTok as well. I can't remember now, but I just sort of wanted to do a bit of a brief overview about it. I said in my Instagram that I didn't really have a goal of what I wanted to do in the marathon. I believe I said my goal was to just make sure I went across the finish line, which it was, and I did that. My time averagely wasn't great, but I can't remember what the temperature was, but it was really warm that day, and I remember just sweating so much. It was just so hot. And yeah, there was water stations and I had gels and stuff, but it just really was just so unbelievably warm. It was an incredible experience. I mean, I had friends come out, my mum and dad came out to watch me. The atmosphere of a marathon was just incredible, and the fact that I got to do it and start at Headingley Stadium, which is a 10-minute walk from my first year flat at uni, I think it was sort of like a great way to end my first year. Like, I think it was mile 15 through to 17 or 18, where it was just along, it was on a back road sort of, but there was no part of it that was in the shade. You could you'd run on one side for a bit and then the sun would move to that side, so you'd move over to the other side, but then the sun would go to that side, and in the end you couldn't run on either side without like avoiding the sun. So I think that was the worst bit for me. I got told about a hill in the course as well, but I mean, I think in comparison to the Sheffield Half Marathon, which I did in March, the hill it leads, it was, I think if you look at the what's it called? If you look at like the altitude of the hills, I do believe that Sheffield is higher. Like I said, I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to even do a marathon, let alone at, you know, the youngest age. You can sign up for 1:18. I couldn't have asked for more of myself because I did training, but I was also fluctuating between track races, road running, this, that, and I think that sort of took away from it as well. So I was training, but I wasn't specifically 100% training for the marathon. You know, I took a bit of time off. I also was having problems with my IT band, but thankfully that's all healed now. I mean, for the most part, knock on wood. So I had quite a few exams as well. I had my nutrition exam, and then I had a presentation to do as well, and obviously I had coursework that I needed to turn in. The next thing was Rother Valley relays. So I believe that was my first race back after the marathon. It was with the vet team for Doncaster, They were all lovely. It was around Rother Valley. It was 5k, well it said it was 5k, but my watch said it was a bit more than that. But it was fun, it was really warm. The only thing about that I didn't really like was that Rother Valley do a park run. It goes clockwise around the lake, but when we did the relay, it was anti-clockwise, so it was the other way around. So it was a bit strange running that way, and honestly, that was all I could think about as I was going around. I mean, it was fun, it was warm. I did have a bit of knee pain going into it, and I think in the end I just knew I had to do it because like it was obviously a relay and they were counting on me to run my leg. So I think I just sucked it up and just, you know, like was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I wrote a very sort of vulnerable Instagram post, and it was, I mean, you could go and have a look at it. I mean, when I first initially wrote it, I'd actually run out of characters on the Instagram bio, so I did have to write it again in the count thing. But in terms of why I wanted to do it, I love the idea of social media, and I think sharing your story and stuff. Basically, I follow people on social media who to me seem realistic, real, and I don't want to be thingy, but not full of themselves. They know how to have a laugh. They know that not everything's pinpoint, straight-laced, serious. And I think that's what it was as well. And I think, you know, I have followers on Instagram that probably have no idea who I am or whatever. And I wanted to write it and say sort of, you know, I've been running nearly 5 years now. And for me, it is a big part of my personality, and I wanted to just sort of give a story of myself as well as, you know, running stuff. But the main thing was I wanted you to see who I am behind all of the running and stuff like that. What was my next point? I had a point in between that. Yeah, so my next point was going to be moving out. So obviously it is the 3rd of June. Uni's obviously done. My accommodation, I have to be out of here, I believe, by the 15th. However, I am moving out the end of this week because I've got some exciting stuff coming up, which I will talk about in a minute. So I move out the Sunday, I don't know what day. And then my house for second year, I believe, is supposed to be ready within the first week of July to move in. So I'm moving my stuff home for a couple of weeks, and then as soon as I am able to get the keys for the house up here, I'm gonna move all my stuff up. But like in the summer, I don't think I'm gonna stay up in Leeds. I think I'm just sort of gonna fluctuate between Leeds and home, I think, depending on what I've got on and stuff. But like I say, I'm really excited to move into the house next year, because I'm moving in with one of my she's two of my best friends. One of the people I'm moving in with actually is living in the flat now currently, who I lived with first year, and the other one, she is like a carbon copy of me. She's amazing. I love her to bits. We only met quite recently. We didn't meet like during Freshers Week or whatever, like, whereas I met the lad obviously because he's in the flat like the first couple of days. I didn't meet her I think until like December or something, or maybe it was January. But since then we've been really close. We do quite a lot together. I'm really excited for that. Excited to see what second year brings. But in terms of, like I was saying, I've got a busy couple of next weeks. No. In terms of what I was saying about things coming up, I've got a busy few weeks coming up. Next week, it's sort of calm before the storm. I think next week I'm going to try and see some friends and stuff. On the 15th, I think that's that's when my June starts to go crazy. So the 15th, I believe my mum is having a sort of family party at our house. It's my birthday in June as well as Father's Day. So we're having siblings over, friends over, stuff like that. The Monday, I start taking part in a research project for Beckett. Something to do with, I can't remember the exact title off the top of my head. I did write it down, but I don't know where I I think I've wrote it down wrong and I don't want to get it wrong, so it'll be on the screen of what the research thing is about. It goes through, I believe, from the 16th to the 25th of June. I'm going to be driving, you know, up from home quite a bit along that time, because I'm going to be sat in labs and stuff doing tests and stuff, you know. And part of the research is that they feed us, sort of like they give us things we can and can't have depending on, you know, what they're looking at in terms of the research thing, which I think is really cool. The main reason I'm doing it is obviously I'm interested in performance, but also there is a benefit for me as well. I get hours for next year, so working hours. If my foot's just come dead, so you're gonna have to give me a sec, because I can really feel it. Okay, I'm gonna walk around in a sec. Right, we're back. It goes from the 16th of June to the 25th or somewhere around there. But in that sort of time frame as well, my birthday is on that Wednesday. So I am coming up in the morning to do testing. And then I am going to my housemate next year. I'm staying at hers. We're gonna go get some food. Celebrate. I mean celebrate, because I can't really celebrate because one, I'm doing that research project, but two, this is something exciting. I'm taking part in the UK Ekiden. Now, you're probably thinking, what is that? What is the UK Ekiden? I've never even heard that in my life. Honestly, I thought the same thing, but it is really, really cool. So, the UK Ekiden originates from Japan. So basically, I believe it's 15 university teams and then 15 like sponsored teams doing it this year. 2025 will be the second year that it is in the UK, which I think is really interesting. It's a relay, so there's in all teams it's 5 female, 5 male, broken up obviously into 10 legs. There's 10 people. 114 kilometer course, starting from Windsor into Reading and then back. I think the legs are between 5 kilometers and 15 kilometers. So it's like middle and long distance, and I do believe it is a bit of a trail. If you look up the distance project, I believe they've got videos on it at the minute. I don't know if I'm in any of them at the minute, I don't think so. Like I say, the UK Ekiden is from, I believe we leave on the 19th, which is the Thursday, and then I think the race is on the Friday, which is the 20th. And instead of a baton, when you pass over the point, it's a sash. I think it's called a tatsiki. I might have said that wrong. I'll put it on the thing. Going back to the Japanese sort of culture, or where the thing originated from, you wear the sash and then that's what you hand over rather than a baton, which I think is quite interesting and sort of keeps with the origin from where the race itself comes from, which I think is really interesting. Yeah, so there is also quite a few sponsors for the UK Ekiden. I think including ASICS, the Financial Times, Morton, which if you know me, I'm recently sort of got into using, I've got the my Morton sort of water bottle on hand. Another exciting thing about the Ekiden is that as well as I believe it's 15 university teams, there's also 10 or 15 sponsored teams. Amongst the sponsored teams, one of the runners that I actually sort of follow on Instagram, and if you know road running, you probably know, or you might not, Becky Briggs. I believe she recently just won I think it's the Hackney Half. I think she did it in an hour and 14 minutes, which is just crazy. But she's running it, and I know quite a few big name runners or athletes are doing the race as well, which I think is quite interesting. But yeah, I'm really excited to sort of take part in that, especially because it's sort of more down my alley. I reckon in a couple of years it'll be a big event and people will go to watch it. The last thing I wanted to talk about was summer. Obviously, I finished uni now, finished my exams. After this Ekiden, I don't believe I have a race scheduled. So in terms of summer and running and racing, a couple of weeks ago I made a decision about running, a big decision. I'm not going to get fully into it on here. The people that need to know about it, but I've decided that instead of sort of fluctuating between track and road and sort of swapping in and out constantly of the training of both of them, that I'm just gonna stick to training for road races, because at the end of the day, that's what I want to do and that's what I want to get better at. So I think the only way to do that is, rather than, you know, constantly changing my training to sort of depend on the race that I'm doing that week, it's sort of was sending me backwards rather than forwards, like time and results wise. So I think, you know, I've had a couple of conversations with people anyway, with physios and stuff, and they said, you know, maybe if you focus on one thing rather than trying to do it all, you know, you get back to where you want to be, and you might even get better than that. But after the Ekiden, I am gonna have a bit of time off from running, in sort of the terms of, you know, since, I mean, yeah, I had a bit of a break when I was in a boot in January. I obviously didn't run. I was in the gym still, but not running. But normally in the year, I don't have a set break, especially because, you know, for my club, I tend to say yes to everything. And so I could have a race nearly every weekend sometimes. And it gets a bit much, not only for my body, but sometimes, especially when I've been at uni, traveling sort of back and forth. So I think it's time for a little bit of a break. I do want to use the summer this year as a turning point for myself, to try and get back on the times that I wanted this year that I didn't get, and to try and, you know, push myself to another limit and try and get those times that I wanted this year when I didn't get them. So this summer I'm going to use it as training block to start somewhere. In terms of next year, and I mean next year and next school year in like September, I would like to take part in the Bucks cross country, because I mean, I watched people do it this year and it looked really fun. And I think I also, because I don't necessarily do track, I don't get a lot of opportunities to sort of run for the uni, in terms of like organized events and stuff. So I think if I do that, it's sort of, I mean, it's not exactly road running, but it's realistically the closest I'm going to get to it. But I will be doing and sort of getting back to regular social media posts on Instagram, TikTok, and over the summer I am sort of going to try and build a foundation on YouTube. I do realize that, you know, with TikTok and stuff, people's attention spans just, they're not there anymore. And, you know, I'm a sucker for it too, because I do the same thing. You know, I sit there, I scroll, you know, everybody does it at some point. Try and build my sort of social media following, because as well as running, I do also enjoy the social media side of it as well. As much as, you know, in school and stuff, and even at uni, some people sort of, you know, take the mick and sort of laugh at it. At the end of the day, I do enjoy it, so not in a horrible way, but I don't really care what the people think. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so that is all I wanted to talk about. Just a couple of points there, sort of catch up and stuff. If you are wanting to sort of keep up with me and sort of keep up with what I'm doing, you could give my Instagram a follow. I tend to post on stories quite a lot on like sort of everyday sort of daily things, you know. And you know, while you're there, go to my bio, click on the link, and there's links to my TikTok and my YouTube as well, so you might as well subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on TikTok as well. I hope this wasn't too boring for me talking. I mean, I've been sat here for nearly half an hour just talking at camera. I probably look like a psychopath, but you know what? It's fine. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to try and come up with different things to do rather than sit and talk to the camera. Okay, well, I thought I ended the video, but my camera died and it didn't catch the last little bit I said. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.